Hello everybody and welcome back to another CZZ Productions video. Well, if you still remember that name, I haven't posted in over a month and I have my reasons, believe me, just believe me. And sadly there is a very likelihood that over the months of June and May I just won't be posting at all because I'll be busy with exams. But hey, I will try my best and best believe during the summer there will be certainly some bangers to come. But that's enough pondering on mere trivia, let's get to the actual bit you're here for. Five Nights at Wario. What exactly happened to this game? What is it all about? Now, very similar to other Five Nights at Freddy's fan games I've been talking about, this one does have new updated versions coming out so many years after the original. The original Five Nights at Wario released all the way back in 2015, not so far away from the original FNAF game release. But just 3 months ago, each of the 4 games, or it could be even more than that, but 4 that I know of, have been completely remade pretty much. Well, completely remade is a bit of an exaggeration, more like bug fixes, quality of life, and just overall modernized. Is actually only the first game that got completely remade in the deluxe version. Gameplay of you are watching right now, as the original first game, I couldn't really get it to record for some reason. And with the second game, for some reason only the old build of it worked for recording for some reason, and the third one just didn't really work entirely, so I just had to screen record it. But you know, it's whatever, we overcome these challenges. In terms of what exactly has happened to the franchise, it's still kind of alive and kicking. I mean, only 3 months ago we got all these new build, quality of life fixes, and the developer is working on many more projects currently. One of which I know is a tower defense game that is loosely based on Five Nights at Wario. Now I know that technically speaking there are 4 or even more games in this franchise, but I'm going to be talking about the first 3 because those are the ones I kind of grew up with and know the best. So starting off with Five Nights at Wario, or should I say Five Nights at Wario Deluxe. Now this game is very similar to the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, just like the original Candies was, as well as One Night Flumpties. You got the classic flick through the cameras. On this one it also has a kitchen kind of room which doesn't have a camera in it, as well as 2 doors next to you with light switches and a closed door switch. So at face value it doesn't really seem like there's anything especially cool about this first game. And you'd kind of be right, the first 2 nights are practically just carbon copies of Five Nights at Freddy's 1 with some goofy Wario characters. But it's not all bad because night 3 things actually change up a decent amount. Now I'm not sure if this was in the original game because once again I couldn't really get it to run well. But basically you get an extra set of cameras that you can toggle between, kind of like Five Nights at Freddy's 3. This new set of cameras allows you to view the lower portion, the basement of the factory establishment if you will, where it is completely pitch dark and you have to flash a light. But there is a bit of a catch to this where you can only do it every couple of seconds and on 1 camera at a time obviously. In addition to this, the character that stalks you from down there, the crazy Killer Peach character, will actually move in quite a random pattern and very quickly as well, so it's hard to know exactly where she is, unlike Springtrap in FNAF 3 where you can simply see which camera is on and lure him accordingly. This alongside a lack of sound cues as well as being distracted by other characters makes it quite a gamble to try and track her down and reset her pattern. But nonetheless it is a welcome gameplay mechanic into a seemingly quite simple game. Now with this information, you'd be thinking to yourself, well CZZ, okay, so how many times did Peach clap you during your 5 nights? And actually none, because the one thing that did clap me all the time was the lack of power. Now just for a quick second, I want you to sit back, relax, close your eyes and think very deeply of the last FNAF game or even FNAF fan game you've played where the power is quite like needy, you know, you really need to conserve it. There is a lack of power. Now just think about that for a second. You got it? Okay, nice. So imagine that game having about 10 times less power, okay? Because that's exactly what you get at Five Nights at Wario. Now I don't know if I'm just complete doo-doo at the game or there's some gameplay mechanic or tactic I'm missing out on, but seriously I was running out of power consistently, and that's with playing like a quite conservative playstyle, not even like a scaredy cat one where you're constantly shutting the doors and whatnot. But then again, this is quite a neat remake of such an iconic FNAF fan game that even the likes of Corey Kenshin and Markiplier played. The graphics in this new version are half decent, the jump scares are good, there's a whole range of different achievements you can get that has some replay value, and as I said before, I'm pretty sure they did end up adding some new gameplay mechanics, but I could be wrong about that. And also the fact that on this specific camera the fan now actually moves, I think is very cool because that was stationary in the original game. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that sums up the first game, so let's get straight on to Five Nights at Wario 2. the original, because remember I couldn't play the remake. So in this game, instead of being in a factory, you go over to this warehouse kind of place in the middle of the woods. Interestingly enough, for this game and Five Nights at Wario's free, there are some famous FNAF YouTubers who do the voice acting for the phone guy. For this second game is Dorko, and for the third one is Rausbowski. And this second Five Nights at Wario's game is the one that really doesn't have much to write home about. I mean, the whole gameplay loop is you have a generator out back, your power's constantly draining. If you think someone's in the room there, then you just dip to the back and don't touch anything, you wait, and that's pretty much it. But one thing that I did in fact like about this game is how it made use of the storm that is constantly raging throughout the 5 nights. Lightning in this game isn't just some sort of visual effect to make the game look nicer, it actually serves as a central gameplay mechanic, and it should be your best friend during the 5 nights. For example, with the lightning, you can see what's happening in the corridor left of you, and use it to keep track of a foxy type evil toad that after a few stages will run to your office to murk you. It's a nice addition to have a camera be almost completely dark, and so only with the lightning can you see it. It definitely adds to the intensity if you missed a quick lightning strike and so don't know what's getting closer to your office, as they only happen every couple of seconds. Oh yeah, and just like the first game, the power drains very quickly. But oh well, let's move on to the third game, as this is my favorite. It has a special place in my heart. Now, when I first became aware of the franchise, I actually started looking at content for the third game as well as playing it for myself before the other two. And my whole attraction to the third game came from the fact that it's quite unique compared to all the other games at the time. And I'm not only talking about FNAF fan games when I say that, because just to put this into perspective, this game came out 3 months before Five Nights at Freddy's 4. So basically, this game let you move around the house and be in a different room each night with completely different mechanics a year before Sister Location was even released. So yeah, this is why I found the game pretty cool back in the day. It was the first Five Nights at Freddy's game that actually allowed you to move around, always providing something new and interesting. Having played the game recently, there is no doubt that it is very outdated and simple. But without this, we would have gone bangers like the Joy of Creation story mode 2 years later, which funnily enough also has you play in a different room of a house each night. Talking about the rooms of this game, as a fun fact, they are literally just modified pictures from Google Images. Yeah, Click Team wasn't really advanced back then. Although I'm pretty sure other FNAF games of the time like One Night at Flumpty's and Five Nights at Candy's did make their own assets. The version I played for this game was 3.0, the newest, and by the looks of it, there are actually some collectibles you can get. Alongside the nice variety of rooms that you can stay in each night, there's also a big roster of characters out to get you. I think probably the most in the series, maybe the 4th game has more. All in all, a very nice game and interesting franchise. Iconic to say the least. But anyway guys, here was what happened to Five Nights at Wario's. If you want to see more content in the future, make sure you like and subscribe, and I shall see you guys in the future. I'll try and be more consistent, maybe.